Have you ever felt depressed? You know, a lot of people do. There's millions and millions of people that suffer from depression. And since COVID, we've had even more depression, especially in teenagers and young adults and small children, even saying, I feel anxious, I feel depressed. I began my flower essence journey when a client called me in the middle of the night, feeling anxious and also was suffering from depression. And at that time, I didn't have the skills to help her with that. All I could do was tell her to take, oh, try to get some sleep tonight. And when you get up in the morning, take your herbal products, like valerian root and your B vitamins to help you with this. Well, that's wonderful too, because that strengthens the nervous system. However, it doesn't always necessarily address the emotional and mental health issues that are associated with depression. So, what happened was I decided that, okay, I need to find some tools. And that day, I went to my reflexologist, who was also, I was trained under, and there was a sign that I had never asked her about, and it said flower essences. I asked her, what are flower essences? And she says, oh, they were developed by Dr. Bach in the 1930s during the Depression, when people were very depressed, right? And people were very angry and fearful, and they didn't know what to do. And he was a physician, and no matter, what medication he gave them, no matter what surgery he did, people weren't getting better. They still were very unhappy. And so he decided to stop his practice, and he moved to the countryside and said, I have to go into nature. And he started really embracing nature and embracing flowers, and realized that flowers had signatures that could help people with their energy field. The energy of the flower could help people with their energy field. The energy field had already been discovered. However, a lot of people didn't believe in it yet. And science wasn't okay with it, you'd say. So now we have lots of studies, and we have lots of physicians and physicists that now do know that we do have an energy field. Well, flower essences, because of their energy field, they work on our energy field. And when you've had a shock, a trauma in your life, the first thing it hits is your energy field around you. And you have layers in your energy field. So, what happens when you have a shock or trauma, if you can start using a flower essence or a flower essence blend immediately, that shock and trauma doesn't go into your energy field, it dissipates, and then it doesn't go into your physical body. If you keep the shock or trauma, then what happens is, as years go by and you still are thinking about that shock or trauma, it gets worse and you get triggered by certain things. And therefore, then later on, as they've shown in energy fields around the body, and when people are going into a diseased state, means a physical problem, the energy field starts getting jagged, it starts getting weaker, and then the person ends up with a disease. So, in my experience, as a flower essence practitioner now for over 38 years, my husband, my first husband, and the father of my two older children, He believed in herbs and vitamins and all that, but he didn't believe in my flower essences until one day. He had a horrible accident where one of his colleagues was killed right in front of him by a car, and he escaped the situation. And I was called on the phone, and I grabbed Rescue Remedy, which has 5 flowers in it. And I went to the scene, and of course, he was shocked. His boss said that they would pay for him to have whatever kind of psychotherapy or whatever he needed. They would help him with that, because the chaplain who was at the accident said it was like he'd been in a war within 5 minutes. His friend was killed. The other person that hit him in the car, that car was turned over. And then people that stopped, they were going and stealing things out of his friend's truck. So this is just like what happens in a war. So he was like in a little war zone there, out in the middle of nowhere on farmland. This all happened. And I got there with the Rescue Remedy, and I had him start taking it immediately, 4 drops under his tongue. And he took it as often as he needed. He was able to sleep that night. He never had a nightmare ever about the situation. He cried at the funeral. He cried for his friend, which is all normal responses when you have a dear friend die. And he never had to go to psychotherapy. His energy field immediately started releasing it, and he never had any triggers from it. So when he and I would go and teach a class together, because at that time he also was a massage therapist, and he would teach the massage, I would teach the flower essence or the essential oil part of the class. When I would start talking about flower essence, he would always say, "Lori, is it possible? Can I say something?" I'd say, "Sure." And he'd say, "You know, I never, ever believed that flower essences worked until I had that accident. And it released the trauma and the stress that I had encountered during that experience." And so it really, what it did is it showed other people. And to this day, his story still helps so many people. And we have seen story after story of people being helped with different forms of fears, anger, and also different forms of depression. And a lot of times we have very deep issues underneath depression. We have anger, fear, sadness, abandonment. And that's the reason why I decided to do this masterclass. I felt now is the time to do it, because people are being traumatized daily. Just if you get on Facebook, you could be traumatized by what you're seeing and what's going on. And so my goal is to help you take full responsibility for your health and well-being, and to help you get through all these different challenges that you're facing in the world today. So that way you can live a positive and healthy life. You truly can. And so I want to share that with you on January 21st and 22nd with 2 of our graduates from the Lori Hargis International School of Aromatherapy, but it's our Flower Essence Practitioner course. And it's going to be Carolyn Blind, who is going to be doing her case study on depression, and Russel Tarte, who is going to be doing her case study on abandonment. Now, it's interesting because they have some similar situations going on. And these are both men case studies. And because I feel that now men need to really be helped in these areas, because women reach out more for this kind of help than men do. And I hope that this will draw men into seeing how they can help themselves or find a flower essence practitioner to help them. So please sign up for our class. The link is below. And I can't wait for you to feel better, to release your shock, your traumas, your fears, your depressions, your sadness, to live a happy and joyful life. Don't forget your essentials. Use your common sense. Au revoir.